Okay, how's it, guys? Carl here. I'm trying to just share an application screen quickly with you. I've decided to do this to give you an introduction into your assignment, so that those of you will have to start with the assignment over the weekend, and it's due, I think, on Tuesday. So just to give you a sense of what is required for the assignment. So Um, this is assignment one, obviously. As I said, it's due on Tuesday. It covers the first 5 learning units, I think. There's my email address in case any of you don't have it yet. Okay, so where is the assignment? So if you go to your varsitycollege.co.za, to the Varsity College homepage, um, and you click on current students, which is in the top center there, and you click on my VC student intranet. That'll then take you to a page that looks something like this. And then you have your student materials on there. And that is where you'll find your um, assignment. Once you've downloaded the assignment, you now have the assignment. And this assignment counts 25% of your overall mark. So in the greater scheme of things, 25% or 1/4 of your final mark for this module will come from this assignment. So it's important that you get the assignment right and that you do it correctly. So what does it look like? It is a typed assignment, so we don't handwrite them. We type all of our assignments because you need to type it in any case and have it in an electronic Word file or PDF file to be able to upload it onto VC Learn. I will show you where to do that soon. Use Arial or Times New Roman 11 or 12 point size on your font. Set your line spacing to 1.5. It makes it easier to read. And set it as justified. So justified is simply a setting that evenly spreads the words across the width of the page. So it runs from the left border to the right border. You can left align, right align, center, or justified. If you don't know how to do that, just do a quick Google. It's very easy. It's a simple click, and it's been done in your Word program. Use headings and numbering. So number all your questions correctly so that I know this is question 1.2. If you write like question 5, for example, as an essay, use headings in your essay. If you've got a longer 15-mark question or so, use subheadings. It always makes life easier for the person busy marking it to be able to see what you're doing. Make sure that you have your spell check and your grammar check on, or run it through something like Grammarly to make sure it's correct. Be very careful of putting it into something like AI to rewrite it and make it better sounding, because one of the detectors might pick it up as AI's work, and then you have a problem. I find that the normal spell and grammar check that is in your Word programs and so on are more than sufficient. Make sure you've got a cover page. Your name, the subject, assignment 1, and your student number appears on there. And then we will submit it online. Let me show you where to do that. Okay, there we go. So when you go into the subject on VC Learn, and you come on the landing page and you scroll down on the left-hand side, you will see submission links over here. That is where you're going to submit it. And keep in mind this academic honesty declaration for all submissions. I'm going to speak about that now. So you'll find under assessment submissions, academic honesty, and submission links. There's a find and assessment there as well. If you click on there, you'll also go and you'll be able to find your assessment quite easily, just in case you don't want to go the other route. So once you click on submission links, because you're now ready to submit, it'll take you to this page, and you will see no submission links, which normally causes great panic, and students write long emails to us that they can't see the submission link and therefore they can't submit. You will not see a submission link for 2 reasons. Submission links are only available 2 days before submissions are due. But more importantly, if you have not done the academic honesty declaration, the one I just showed you, you will not see a link. You must do that in all subjects. You have to do that before the links will appear. So when you click on the Academic Honesty Declaration, it'll bring you to this screen, and you'll see there's a whole important story that they say there. They also say to you in yellow, links to submit your assessment files will only be available after you've accepted the Academic Honesty Declaration. So you won't see them. You click here where the red arrow is just above it. It says Academic Honesty Declaration. When you click there, it takes you to this, and it's suddenly you in a test, and now you start panicking. What is this test that I've got to write? Now, it's not a test. It's just the way it's set up. You simply click on the right bottom. There's a thing that says Begin. You click on Begin, and it takes you to this page. And you need to tick all those blue boxes. Now, all these blue boxes are saying that you understand what the assessment rules are. This is your own work, so it's you that have done all the work. You've not copied from anybody. You've not worked it with anybody else. You've not uploaded the assessment questions to any website that offers any help. You've not downloaded responses from a website, so you've not got help from outside. You've not used an AI tool without reviewing, rewriting, reworking this information, and referencing any AI tools in my work. So if you're going to use AI, and I'll talk a little bit more about it just now, you must show the conversation that you've had with AI, and I'll explain to you how to do that. You've not shared this assessment with any other students. So remember, if you use another student's work, that's dishonesty. If you give your work to another student, that is also dishonesty. Any way in which another student accesses your assessment, you're in as much trouble as that student. You've not copied and pasted, so you've not used other works as your own. You've cited all sources. You haven't committed plagiarism. And I can't see the other two, but it basically boils down to that you've acted you've done all the referencing you need to do, and you've acted in an academically honest manner in this submission. Once you've finished ticking all those boxes, bottom right, save and submit, and boom. Then your links will appear if it is 2 days before the time. If it's not 2 days before the time, you still won't see the links. So those links should become available probably Sunday midnight, round about there somewhere. Those links should be available. Right. So when do you submit? You need to submit before midnight, 23:59. So if you submit at midnight, 00:00, you are late, and you are considered as a late submission. 1 second is late. Late is late, right? So we don't play around. It's not like school where the teacher can say, "Oh no, it's fine. I'll still take it." Late is late. So try to make sure that you don't try to submit it at 23:59. 2 reasons for this is, one, you need to go through a process. This is the first time that you're going through the submission process, so you want to give yourself some time. And also there are lots of other students also submitting from all around the country at the same time. So it's very easy for the system to get to have a traffic jam, and then it might take longer, and your clock might take over. If that happens, your problem, right? That's why submit it earlier. Keep in mind things like load shedding. If you say to us, well, sorry, I was late because of load shedding, tough, that's on you. You need to check your load shedding schedule, and you need to be ready before the time. So I always say to students, 9 o'clock should sort of be your cut-off time. That it should not happen later than 9 o'clock. Then you know what's going on. We have got a concession in place for students. So if you miss the deadline and you submit within 24 hours of that 23:59 deadline, we will still mark it, but you will get docked 15% of the mark that you get. If it's after the 24 hours, 0. You're not going to get a mark. Be careful of double submissions. And double submissions, so what happens is you finish writing on Sunday afternoon, you submit it. Monday you come to class, Carl chats, he says a couple of things in class, you say, ooh, I think I need to change that one answer. You go back, you change that answer, you submit again. The second submission is the one that's going to get marked, right? The problem comes in where you submitting late, as in 23:59, you've worked to the last minute, you submit it, and something goes wrong. And you think, you're going to submit it again. Actually, nothing went wrong. The first submission went through. It was just taking time to go through. The second submission comes through, and it's 1 minute after midnight. So it's a late submission, but within the 24 hours, that is the one that's getting marked. You're losing 15%. So rather do it at 9 o'clock. You will get an email from the system that will tell you it has been received. When the system shows you on the screen that your submission has been received, print screen that. Keep the email, keep that print screen. If something goes wrong and we say we never received the submission, you can say, sorry guys, there's my proof of submission. And believe me, it's computers, things do go wrong. Also remember, once you've submitted, you can see your plagiarism score. And if that looks a bit high, you might want to go back and do some reworking. And that's also why you want to do it a bit earlier. If things go wrong, Carl is not your first port of call. Don't send me an email and say, sir, what must I do? It's quarter to midnight. My submission's not going through. I can't help you, right? You can drop me an email. It'll be great to know about it because I can follow it up. Your key thing is, if anything goes wrong, take screenshots of everything so that you've got proof of what was happening. And then contact the CRO, the Customer Relations Officer on campus, first thing the next morning and go have a chat to them. If you've let me know, I'll probably also go find out what's going on and probably drop you an email and so on. But they're the people that can escalate. They're the people that can do things. I will follow up, but I can't do the things. So, writer, how do I write this? Referencing. Folks, get your referencing right from day one. You may believe you know how to reference. I tend to believe first years struggle to reference. So please make sure you can do a proper Harvard reference. I'm going to show you 3 examples quickly. But there is under more resources on VC Learn, I've uploaded, by the way, the slides are all uploaded there. All 5 first chapters, the slides. I've also uploaded the VC guide to Harvard referencing. So that's your referencing guide. If you do what that guide tells you, you can't make a mistake. But let's quickly look at these 3 bullet points. I'm working with a book that has to do with statistics for the social sciences using Excel. And it was written by Davis, Picard, Santana, and Burke. So what do? If we're using it in text, so I'm going to be, when I read the sentence, I'm reading the people's names. We say Davis, Pekka, Santana, and Burke, and the year 2014 assert that all fields that engage in data collection do in essence make use of statistics. Happy days. If we're going to do it, and you'll see it's Santana and the words and Burke, if we're going to put it in brackets, so when I read out the sentence loudly, I'm not going to read their names. All fields that engage in data collection do in essence make use of statistics. That is a statement of fact. Because it's a statement of fact, you must have a reference. And I put the reference in brackets, and see now I use the ampersand sign. That funny thing that looks like a reversed 8 is called an ampersand. So when it's in bracket, always the ampersand. When it's in the sentence, always the and, the word AND. We only use the page numbers, and that'll go a semicolon after the date and the page number if you're doing a direct quote. Don't use too many direct quotes. As a matter of fact, use as few as possible. The last bullet there tells you about what it's going to look like in your reference list. So everything that everywhere where you write, when you use a statement of fact, you must have a reference there. You must have a source, and that must be referenced correctly. Every reference must appear in your reference list. And the third bullet shows you how to do the reference list properly. I want you to pause this video at this point so that you can look through this bullet that says author, surnames, initials, blah, 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 because that is what your reference list must look like. So just pause the video for a moment and you just look through that. So pause it now. Okay, so I'm assuming that you've looked through that and you now know what it must look like. I want to mention one more thing. In this case, we're using Davis, Picard, Santana, and Burke. If we've got 3 or more authors, the first time all authors, and it doesn't matter if there's 12 of them, all authors are listed. The second time that you use them, you only list the first one and then you use the words et al. And the date. Et al. You'll see it in the referencing guide. It's just to say it's Davis et al., Davis and the other authors. It's just a quicker way of doing it in the when you're actually writing the thing. Guys, use at least 6 different sources. You can include your textbook in there, but 6 different sources at this level, first year level, that's enough. When we get to third year level, I'm talking about 12, 15 sources. But at this level, use about 6 different sources. That'll give you at least 6 sources. That'll give you a good background. Wikipedia is not a source. Normal magazines are not. If you can't take something out of the U, the Financial Times, yes, maybe, but you need academic sources, and academic sources always have an author. So if you find a website, websites can be academic sources, but there's no author, or there's no date, then you have a problem. That's not an academic source. That's just a website. If it is the Statistics South Africa website, then it's fine. But if it is mojo.co.uk and it's it's just a website, then it's not an academic source. Don't use that source. Find somewhere else to use it. But best bet, use your referencing guide that is under more resources. I've uploaded it there. Use that referencing guide to help you. Moving along, guys. Again, plagiarism. Plagiarism is where you use sources and you do not reference them. So you're making a statement of fact. You saying that in a command economy, the government owns all assets and the government determines what is done by those assets. You didn't know that. You got that from a textbook. Which textbook? Don't always reference your textbook. Get another source that says that, right? But if you just state that, and it's a statement of fact, and you haven't referenced it, then you've basically committed plagiarism. Copying is where you cut and paste, so you use the exact words, and even if you recognizing the sources, that's still copying. You can't copy chunks out of works. You need to paraphrase them, and paraphrasing simply means write them in your own words. So you've got to rewrite, verbalize those so that it's your own words. Okay, so let's talk about artificial intelligence using ChatGPT and so on. You may use chat, you may use those sources. Use them very circumspectly. Only use them to give you broad headings and so on. In this assignment, they're not going to be able to help you much because you are looking for very specific case-informed answers. So AI is not going to help you much. If you do use AI for anything, you need to, at your referencing at the end, say, I have used artificial intelligence, I've used ChatGPT. You can say what you have used it for. I've used ChatGPT to give me an indication of headings to use in question 1.8. And then you need to make the following statement. The discussion that I had with ChatGPT is at the following address, and you need to give me the web reference where that is. So I can click on there and I can go look what you asked, what you said, and what chat gave you back. So I'm going to go look at that conversation. And then I'm going to say, did you copy and paste their answer? Did you sufficiently take the answer that they gave you and rewrite it so that this is your own work? Or is this simply an answer generated by AI? If it's an answer generated by AI, you will not get marks for it. If there's an answer generated by AI and you've reworked it, or you've used that as the headings and you've put your own work underneath it, and it's clear that you purely use that like you would use a referencing tool or like you would use a calculator in a math exam, then I'm happy, then it's not a problem. But if you're going to copy and paste what they say, you will have a problem. Okay, so what are the questions? I'm not going to give you answers here, guys. I'm going to run through what the questions are sort of. I'm not even going to give you the questions really. I'm just going to say what type of answers. So firstly, there's a case study. The whole assignment is built around that case study. Go read that case study on Nomsa making clothes out of curtains and read it through at least twice so that you know what's happening there. So the first question is about factors of production, and there you need to state what the factors of production is, and you use example from the case for each factors. So you say this is the factor of production, this is the example that she used in her case. So everything needs to go back to the case. 1.2, motivation from case required. 1.3 is about economic systems. I think they ask about the command economic system, I'm not sure. Then they ask you to briefly describe the system, and then you need to answer a question whether she would like to work in that system. It doesn't really matter whether your answer is yes or no. It's your motivation that you're giving. And guys, look at it, look at what it is, and give a logical motivation, a motivation that makes sense. But apply it to her case. Say why in the case of her business, it'll be this, that, or the other. Question 2.1 is simple. It's a theoretical answer of why you need a business plan. 2.2 talks about that what business people, entrepreneurs do is they create value. And you need to explain what creating value means to you and how is it done in this case. Innovative thinking is the next one, is 2.3. And how did Nomsa think innovatively in this case? Guys, please, in each question and sub-question, go look at the marks. I tend to say to students, if it's a 10-mark question, you need to write at least 20 lines. At least. If it's a 10-mark question and you're doing 10 lines, you're probably getting about 5 marks from it. Because you don't know how to write at a tertiary, well, very few of you would be able to write at this stage already at a tertiary level. So you would need more words to be able to say what you need to say. Going on to question 3. This is about forms of ownership. She does not want to have liability. It says so in the question. So describe the liability in this that will be in the suggested form of ownership, as well as how this form of ownership will work. Then the next one is about consumer products. There's 3 different categories of consumer products that you need to name, and which one does Nomsa's products fall in? For each of those categories, you need to use examples. They make it very clear that you can't use the examples from the book. So you've got to use your own examples. 3.3, straightforward theoretical question. Why do you need a mission statement? Why is it important? Question 4 asks you about a group of activities, and you need to apply those to Nomsa's business. 4.2, discuss the evolution of African management thoughts, theoretical question from the textbook. And then question 5 calls for an essay. And the essay is about the planning process, so it's a simple, relatively simple question. However, read the instructions and make sure that you indicate the word count. There's instructions there that for that question, you need to, I think, use 3 sources at least. There's an instruction on word count. I think it's 700 to 900 words. You must indicate at the end of that question how many words you have. I will probably count 2 or 3 of yours words just for the fun of it. And make sure you follow the instructions. An essay has an introduction. It's got a conclusion. It's got subheadings in between it. It's divided into paragraphs. So make sure that you have got that down and you've got that correctly done. So those are the questions that you're going to need to answer. And that basically is where we're going to end this. There is a problem currently with internet and emails and so on. So I'm hoping that they will rectify that. The best way for you to get hold of me in the interim would be to go into VC Learn, and there's a thing that says get hold of your lecturer that you can click on, and it sends me a message in VC Learn. I'm hoping that that is not going to be affected by the internet outage. Okay, guys. Good luck. I'll see you on Monday morning. Good luck. I will check those emails over the weekend. If there's anything urgently, please drop me a mail. All the best. Cheers.